Hotep, ATM Hotep. We're live and we are jumping straight in. All right. Straight in. Today is Freestyle Friday. Also, today's date is May 14th, 2021. And Renee, my name is Wujao Minib Maat. And I also have on the panel Sun Jun, who's in transit right now, and another panel member. And I will allow just be quiet and let them introduce themselves.
Hotep, Ren E. Imiket. My name is Imiket, and yeah, welcome to Freestyle Fridays. Looking fun. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. So, and like I said, June, Mike, he's will not be able to talk right now. Okay, so what I'm going to do for this Freestyle Fridays, because we're getting a late start, we normally start at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fridays, and we want to be consistent with it. But this time, because we're late, I want to give the link, the panel link, so that anyone who would to participate in the chat, you can come into the panel and participate. That way, we don't have to wait for the lag time and or the delay. All right. So I'm gonna get that together, and while I'm getting that together, I'm sure Emmy Cat has a lot to tell y'all. You know.
Oh,
One more hour.
okay. uh, no. Oh, yeah. I was trying to share to this other group so I could get other people who haven't hit that bell
Okay. Okay.
yet and notify themselves to do that. But yeah, I don't really have much to say. Like yeah, just what I will say is that yeah, I'm always definitely like excited about the Freestyle Friday because it's like um you get two feelings with it. It's like there's that excitement part where it's like, okay, you're gonna look at something and then you have, figure out what you know and what you don't know. Cause every time you do that, you kind of, it's like a barometer. Like it tells you like, how you're progressing with your skills. But then the other part of it is like, yeah, we have to put ourselves out there, like because most people don't want to come out and like that. Some people will say they're learning, some people will not even tell you they're learning Sesh Nature. They'll be like they are the masters of Sesh Nature, like within a week or 2 weeks of looking at the glyphs or whatever, and they don't want to be seen out there making mistakes even though they make mistakes. So everybody's always trying to be like that person that knows everything, but we put ourselves out there every through the years. We have done that where it's like we come out here, especially on the Freestyle Friday, and just or be willing to make mistakes. I mean, it's fun. So it's fun, but then it's like the other part of it, but all of it just makes it fun, yeah. So that's something that is a little bit different. When we started out, I was like scared of doing that, but nowadays I'm like, yeah, whatever is whatever.
Okay. Nice. All right. All right. So now I always forget this because we're not like salesmen over here and things. But I do want to early on now is to remind everybody that we have classes available. Okay. And this is class a study course for a beginner's introduction to Sesh Netcher, or what most people may know as Egyptian hieroglyphic. All right. So we have a beginner's course that is designed to be self-paced. You can go through this course at your own pace and at your own time. All right, because I know the demand of the day-to-day jobs and things, and the pandemic has caused a shift in a lot of people's routines and lives. And so this course was designed from the very beginning to be self-paced. All right. You register for the course. It's 12 weeks worth of weekly live sessions. So although you learn at your own pace, you have access to 12 consecutive weeks of live classes, with the instructor to go through any chapters that you're on, preferably in a sequential order, from chapter 1, then 2 and 3, etc. But wherever you are, you can get clarification, learn about different, concepts, information from wherever you are in your study. Okay. And it's also, you get a certificate of completion because now this study course, obviously, certificate of completion will allow yourself, it'll be, definitely a pat on the back that you have actually completed and accomplished it, but also allow others to know that you've completed a beginner's level. And I'm going to tell you that I am very stingy with certificates. And if you don't meet the requirements of being competent and proficient at a beginner's level, you will not receive a certificate. It's just that plain and simple. And so if you ever see anyone with a certificate from a study course from me, then you best believe that that person has met those requirements because I'm very stingy with that. Um, but I also make sure that everyone uh, passes, that goes through the course if they complete it, because some people will, because it's at your own pace and everything, some people may take longer than others, so, and that's okay. That's what it's designed for. Everybody, can't make the same time and same commitment to the study, and at the same time, some people have the commitment available, but maybe not at the same time because, I deal with people that are all over the world in different time zones: Uganda, Liberia, the UK, Denmark, um, what I
Tanzania.
say it again.
Tanzania.
Yeah, Tanzania. And sometimes I have to get everybody in at the same time. So, some people are just waking up while others are just ready to go to sleep. Here I am. I'm on the East Coast, United States, East Coast. So, so the study course is designed to be very, very flexible. And that's what I'm saying in a nutshell. All right. So if you're interested, make sure, and we have fun. We have fun. We don't just talk about the language, in a robotic way, okay, well, a noun is this, or, this glyph is that. No, we actually have conversations, discussions about the culture and things like that, as well. And the live sessions that we have are 2 hours, but people will tell you that we go over that many times. All right, sometimes we've been as long as 4 hours. We double it up because we end up talking about cultural things and things, that I don't get a chance to talk about online, and that might not be the environment for it. But in a nice discussion panel session, is really, really productive. All right, so I just want to make sure that everyone understands all of that. Okay, and the links to it are in the description. So real quick, we have a Facebook group. That's the first link that you see in the description of these videos. The study course is at our learning environment, which is sableuniversity.com. If you go there, you'll see the different study courses, and they're free study courses as well. It's free, quick lessons on the site about different things, and we're going to add more. And then we have a website that's resourceful called seshmedunetcher.com, formerly medunetcher.com. Okay. Um, so there you have it, and then the other links there are to publications, to the textbook, but you get the textbook if you register for the class. All right. The textbook is included, but if you already have it, that you may have gotten it separately or some other time, then you could still register for the class minus the cost of the textbook. So it's just straightforward. I like to keep things very, very, very simple. All right. 1 + 1 is 2. That's simple. Okay. So having said that, um, let's jump into it. So today's Freestyle Friday. And just to describe what Freestyle Friday is very quickly, because most people who tune in are, you're starting to get used to this Freestyle Friday that we do. But Freestyle Fridays is the day that we go live like now, and we pick a image to actually transliterate and translate and go through the 4 steps without any books, without any help at all. And so it's a fun exercise. We have fun. Plus, it's also a self-checking exercise, because it lets you know, okay, what do you know without any help? What have you memorized? What um, as far as the glyphs, as far as words. And so we don't use any books for Freestyle Friday. That's why we call it freestyle. All right. Now, in doing Freestyle Friday, there's 4 steps to transliterating and translating. When we're freestyling, we have to combine step 3 and 4 together, just so you know. Normally, you don't do that. You go through step 1, 2, 3, and 4, and everybody goes through those 4 steps. No matter how good you are, or no matter how much of a beginner you are, you're gonna go through those 4 steps. They're immutable. It's just that obviously, if you're proficient, you go through those steps a lot faster than someone who's just starting out, just beginning. All right. So, having said all of that, I want to say ETM Hotep to the chat. Give a shout out to a couple of people that I see so far. We have Medew, El Boabab, Brother Donnie, Peace, Infinite Minds, Bedrock Carter, Teddy Wassamad Ra Saneferu, Omar Reed, Sadiq, Trikya, and who else? Jehudi Ma'at and Mika. All right. Nice. So ETM Hotep, and we're going to go ahead and start out. So just a quick check. Anybody on the panel have anything to say before we dive in? Nope. Okay.
No.
All right. So now we have a simple inscription, because we want to keep these videos brief. We don't want to go into 4-hour video. Want to keep them short. So we do short inscriptions, and we try to stick to the same genre for quite a while. Then we may switch up. Okay. So if you've been tuning in, you notice that we've been doing offering formulas, whether it's on a tomb wall or what have you, or a stele, or various different steles, whatever. We've been doing those. So this is gonna be no different. And the whole idea is to drill these points home with those 4 steps and to have fun. All right. So now I will remind everybody, the panel link to come in here is pinned in the chat. So, and I don't know if everybody notices it, but it's at the top. So if you see the chat to the right of the video, at the top is the link. Okay, so if you want to participate, click the link. Come on in, and that way we don't have to wait for the delay in the chat, because the more participation, the better it is. All right, because we do this all the time. So we want more people to participate, to jump in. Okay, so here we go. Sean, Iron Lungs. Sean, I think you took that title a few times from me, but all right. Okay, so here we go. So this is the image. So I'm gonna give a chance for everybody to see it, put your eyes on it, digest it, and we're gonna get cracking at it. All right. And by the way, I noticed that if you're watching YouTube and the image may be a little blurry on YouTube, if you hover over the video, you see the cogwheel and for the settings. If you click it, just make sure the quality is at 720p. sometimes depends on how you get to YouTube. It may be at a lower resolution, and so just want to make sure everyone knows that. I always have my set to auto, and it goes to the highest one, but some people may not. So just switch it to the highest one, and you'll see a clear image. All right. So okay. So all right. Now, so Emicat, can you give us the 4 steps? Can you just let us know what those 4 steps are that I spoke of earlier?
Okay. Yeah, so there are 4 steps and to translating, and the first step is to figure out the direction and the orientation to which the glyphs are to be read. So the direction will be either left to right or right to left, and then the orientation will be either in columns or in rows. And then the second step would be to document the different glyphs and how they function. And then the third step would be to pass the different glyphs into words. And then the fourth step will be to find the words in the dictionary and then come up with a sensible translation.
Okay, excellent. All right, excellent. Okay, so all right, but explain what resource or tool is needed for what step.
Okay, so for the first step, you just need your eyes. So you will look at the glyphs, and then that would be to figure out the direction and the orientation. And then the second step, usually you would be using the glyph list to help you along. And these are, where it shows the singular glyphs and how they might function in different aspects. And then the third step is where we start when we group them into words. That the dictionary will help with that. And then the fourth step is coming up with a sensible translation that you're not really using any of those tools, but yeah, you have to be creative with how the words are put together, and grammar will help as well with that. So a little knowledge of grammar, but yeah, hopefully that makes sense.
Okay, all right, all right. Okay, so let's dig in. All right, so try to buy some time for everybody in the chat to have their eyes on it. But I just noticed that when Emicat was speaking, the image went away, so I kind of defeated the purpose of why I wanted to buy some time for everyone. But okay, so here we are. So as a matter of fact, let me try to pin this, that way it won't happen again. Okay, so step one. Let's just give this to the chat. Step one is to determine the direction in which the glyphs are to be read. Okay, so hope everyone hear how I asked the question. What direction should these glyphs be read? Give me the orientation and direction, and how should they be read? Okay, so I know there's a delay. So I don't like the silence. But so let me remind everybody, if you want to come on the panel, click the link. Click the link, click the link. And also while we're waiting, just give you all a few pointers that the way that we transliterate, there are 2 major transliteration systems that we use. One is referred to as manual decodage, which is case sensitive, and the other is we refer to it as diacritic. And diacritic is where you see those characters, those markings above or below characters. And so manual decodage is case sensitive to eliminate the need to do that. And so manual decodage is preferred in electronic media in terms of social media and emailing and things like that. But if you're going to publish a book or an article, then diacritic is mostly used for that because it looks better. It's a better aesthetic when you're publishing something. But online and everything, manual decodage, as much as you can, much as you like. All right, and that's case sensitive. So if you hear about those two, that's referring to. All right, and it whether no matter which one you use, if you're on your phone and you're trying to transliterate and you're typing, you're gonna have to turn autocorrect off, or else you'll get frustrated. Autocorrect will butcher your transliterations. Okay, so let's see. Did I get any answers? Um, okay, Trictia said left to right. And Mika says right to left. Bedrock says right to left. So somebody's not somebody's we got two different answers. So Trictia, since you're the one that had a different answer. So let me ask it again because you gotta pay attention to how I asked. Step one is to determine the direction in which the glyphs are to be read. That's different from asking what direction the glyphs are or facing and stuff like that. So you have, it may seem like a trick question, but it's not. It seemed like I tried to trick you, like your name tricked you. I don't know. I got these little corny jokes, man. I'm not, I don't know. People gotta, I mean, sometimes, sometimes I think I'm crazy. Boy, I tell you, man. Anyway, um, okay. So anyway, so Mika and Bedrock, that's correct. Right to left. We'll read these from right to left. But now there's two things that you should give when you answer. The orientation and the direction. So the direction is that we read it is going to be right to left. So that's correct. But how are they orientated? In orientation, there's two options, either columns or rows. So we keep things simple around here. So there's only two directions, left to right, right to left, and there's only two options for orientation. They're either going to be in columns or they're going to be in rows. All right, just that simple. Yeah, so tricked it. So okay, I just want to make sure you're correct in what you're implying, and you're correct. The glyphs themselves are facing left to right. So you're right. But my question was, how should we read them? Okay. And that, I wanted to be clear on that distinction. All right. So, and everybody's answering this correctly with rows. Okay. So how was that, Imiket? Sabat Imiket? Did everybody get it right? Or
Yeah, rows, right to left.
okay. All right. All right. So second step. Second step is to identify all of the glyphs. And just saying that, it may sound like a big ordeal, big deal to do, but it's really not. Because just like in English, any given text that you're looking at, there is going to be a lot of repetitive things that you see in terms of individual glyphs, because combinations of individual glyphs will form patterns of words, just like in English. Um, English is totally a lot easier because we only have 26 letters in the alphabet, and it's an alphabetic writing system. Whereas Sesh Netcher is not alphabetic, in that sense, but it's have phonographs, logographs, and determinatives. So those combinations are makes it a lot larger than English, but the same principle is there. You're going to see a lot of repetitive glyphs that are part of different words. Okay, so step 2, your job is to identify all of the glyphs, and so you're going to be identifying some and seeing them repeated. And obviously, you just identify it once, you don't have to do it again. All right, so let's go through a couple of these. So anybody on the panel, I haven't even looked at the panel. Anybody come in? Okay, we have Son Kadeem and Son Chris. But anybody on the panel, just call off some glyphs to identify. And let me get my cursor over here, my trusty arrow, and we'll make it red today. All right, so just point me to wherever you are, and I will, or maybe I should point to a glyph and then you all call it off. So all right, let's do the first one. What glyph is that? This for the
That's
chat and the
a that's a sedge plant, right?
to you, yes.
Sure.
Okay, so it's a sedge plant. Now, okay, but that's good. But how would you transliterate it? Do you remember?
I would have to first try to identify that as a if it's a monoliteral
Okay, I forgot
or
to
not.
mention. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Now I first had to identify that glyph and identify if it's a monoliteral or
Okay,
not.
right. So what I was going to say is that by the time anybody sits down and makes an attempt to translate anything, there are certain things that you have already gone through. You should already know that are prerequisites to even attempting to do this. And one of those things, very, very important, is you should have memorized all of the monoliterals. And monoliterals are glyphs that represent mono, meaning one consonant, and they're transliterated with one consonant. And so you memorize those. They're 25 in number. Sometimes you see 25. Sometimes you see people say 24 because of the double reed leaf. Once you know the reed leaf, you double it up, but they only count it as one. So you memorize those. And then obviously from there, you'll know what's not a monoliteral versus what's a multiliteral, meaning it could be a biliteral, triliteral, quadriliteral, quintiliteral, and I forget what the prefix for 6 is. But we refer to them collectively as multiliterals. Anything beyond a monoliteral. So immediately you'll be able to separate those two categories. All right. And so the sedge plant is definitely not a monoliteral. So, but how will we transliterate it? I'll give a hint. It's a biliteral, but somebody give me the transliteration.
SW soup.
Okay, that's correct. Excellent. All right, Mika, very close. You had suit with a T, but that's not that T is not there on that for the sedge. All right, that T is right here. All right, that's the monolithic bread loaf, raised bread loaf. It's a pretty big bread loaf they have there. All right. All right, so I'm gonna point to another one. Let's go down to what do I want to do? Here, this one. Anybody? Chat, panel.
That's the column.
Yes, column. Okay, how is it transliterated?
A, capital A.
Okay, exactly. Excellent. And I'm glad you said A, capital A, and you didn't say lowercase a, capital A. All right, that's good. Because the lowercase is default, so we don't have to say lowercase. We only say a letter if it needs to be capitalized, and that's manual decodage transliteration, by the way. So A, capital A. Ah. All right, what about the one next to it? Everybody should know this one.
Netcher.
Yes. But how do you
That's a triliteral.
Yes, exactly.
And NTR.
Okay, one more time, say it again.
NTR.
Okay.
Netcher.
You're very close. Like you right next to the oven. You right
Ooh.
next to the oven with that one. So I'm gonna give you a hint. I'll give you a hint. Earlier I said that this manual decodage is case sensitive. So there's something in there that should be capitalized.
The R.
Nope.
I'm guessing.
The R is never capitalized. So just so you know, you will never see a capitalized R.
So it's the N.
No, I knew you. Hey, look, if you had to gamble, you had three options, boy, you'd have lost. You would have lost. You left the one that you're supposed to choose. It's the T, capital T.
Okay.
All right, that's what gives you the ch sound instead of the T, regular T sound.
Okay.
All right, representing that. So Netcher. Okay. And by the way, that's some people I know. Some people say Netter with the regular T. Say Netter, like people say Medew Netter and things like that. But it's actually Netcher. In later Egyptian and in Coptic, you'll see people pronounce the ch with a T. Because in Coptic, the word Netcher is actually Nute. Okay, Nute. But that's a whole nother discussion. But around these parts, we say Netcher. All right. Okay, so let's do another one. Let me point to something else. And I'm trying to avoid monoliterals. Okay, here we go. No, not that one. Let's do something. Put a little more difficulty on here. Okay, here we go. Right here, this one. Uh-oh. Boy, I bet you everybody's like, oh, man. Oh, no, that one is.
That's the World Trade Center.
Oh, yep. There it is. World Trade Center. Yep. The ancient Egyptians were prophets. As a matter of fact, I don't even want to joke with that.
No, don't do it.
Yeah, that's the way.
That's funny.
People lost their lives, and I definitely don't want to joke with that. But man, that was a setup for a whole bunch of jokes. All right. So yeah. So what is this, Cliff?
Ewen.
Yes. So how would you transliterate it?
IWN.
Okay, Iker. Correct. Excellent. By the way, the word excellent in Rani Kemet is Iker. So if you hear me say Iker, I say it a lot. Iker, it means excellent. Tu is the word yes. Nin is the word no. So, sometimes you may hear us say that son or sin is brother, sinet, sister. Dua is thank you. Dua'u, thanks a lot, or many thanks. So just to kind of give you all a little vocabulary that you may hear all the time from me. Okay.
Oh, yeah, they're saying in the chat, you might have to zoom a little bit in this instance.
Zoom in. Okay.
Just a little bit, probably.
No problem. So let me go through some Zoom here. So Zoom inside the Zoom, huh?
Yeah, zoom.
Okay, so we're gonna do it like, well, that's probably a little too big. Well, I can move it around, but I don't give anybody a chance to say that they can't see it. All right, let me get my cursor up here again. My arrow. Okay. What else? Okay, this one. Let's go ahead with that one. This will be the last one. You know, we're just identifying a few of them.
Well, it's definitely a conical piece of bread,
Yes, exactly.
an offering. Um, but I don't know. That's all I know.
Okay, that's correct. So who can give me the transliteration? Yeah, who can give the transliteration?
D. DI. Yeah, like Senator Mika said.
Okay, DI. Okay, that's correct. Yep, Mika is correct. DI. All right. So anyway, everyone should get the idea of step two. Step two is to identify every glyph. So obviously you would identify each one, and we're only doing a few for the sake of time. And I believe I zoomed in a little too much. Let me shrink this back down a bit so we can see. Okay. Okay, so that's step two. So now step three is to is a pattern recognition step. Now that may seem for this type of work, it may seem different and odd, but it actually is not. We do it with English all the time. It's just that in English we have the benefit of spaces in between words. But guess what? And we've done this test many times. It's actually in one of our books where we show you a sentence that has no spaces, but you can still read it perfectly fine. And the reason why is because the way the mind works, the mind seeks the path of least resistance. And in this sense, the mind tries to recognize patterns. And once we lock in on a pattern and it's through repetition, that's what we'll see. And so even without spaces, you can still read an English sentence. So in Rodney Kemet, that's exactly what we're dealing with because there are no spaces and punctuations in Sesh Medew Netcher in the writing system. There aren't any. And so you have to know where words end and where new words begin. And so through time, you'll gain proficiency at that because you'll practice. It's through practice and time. Now, what will help you are glyphs that function as determinatives. Okay, glyphs have functions and then they have what they are. And I always tell people this: every single glyph, what it is a pictograph, but how it functions are other possibilities. It either functions as a phonograph, meaning it represents a sound, and we transliterate with a consonant, or it can represent a word called a logograph, or it can function as a determinative, which are mute and are not transliterated, but it aids in us determining the meaning. That's why they call it determinatives, because it helps determine the meaning. But some people also refer to them as classifiers. Why? Because they help classify substantives into categories of words. And then other people call them semantemes. That's the more technical term, because semantics, the word semantics means meaning, and determinatives help give meaning. So semanteme. All right. So I'm saying that all of those. So if depending on who you talk to, where you go, what you read, you may hear it explained that way. Okay. So I try to cover all the bases. Okay. So step three is to identify words. So let's just identify a couple of words. and I won't use my arrow. What I want is anybody in the chat and anybody on the panel just to call off a word that you see. And then I'll try to find where you are with the arrow.
Well, we already went with the Netcher.
So we have Netcher
We-
here.
Right. We have the Nasut. We have the Hotep.
Okay, so Nasut, and we have Hotep. All right.
We have the reed leaf.
That's not a word though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we want to identify with some words. So far so good. You called off some. Any others?
I believe. Ooh, I'm kind of stepping out on a limb, but right in front of that Netcher, I think that's the. I want to say that's the HRW, the Haru.
You mean here?
Yes,
Okay.
this is what it looks like to me.
Yeah, you're close. You're definitely close.
Yeah, it does look like the O, but yeah.
And what you're talking about is the or, right? The or,
Yes.
and that's this. So just so you see the difference, that's the or, and this one is not. But they do kind of look alike. They're reverse almost.
So is that one that you're on right now? Is that an Ankh that's just kind of weathered, or?
No.
No, I think I saw an ant below, so you can compare it.
Missing the fallopian tubes.
That's, hey, this ain't the best of pictures, but I do see the sickle, and that is ma'a.
Okay, good. All right. That's part of a word. Yep. But that's
What
good.
about? And then if you go back up top where you just left off, it looks like the purr, like the house floor plan. To
This one
me.
here.
No, back up top to the left, up top by the water ripple.
Oh, up
That's
top.
where you have the O. Oh no, okay.
Oh, up here.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. Yep. That's good. That's good. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let me just check in on the chat and make sure, because I don't want to leave anybody out. Wait a minute. Where did my chat go? Okay. Anybody? I don't see anybody in chat. Nobody in chat put any words in there. Okay. Keep going. No, let me just remind everybody in chat, the link to come on the panel is pinned in the chat. So as a matter of fact, let me say, Hotep, welcome to Brother Donnie. That's who's speaking now. And that's all who came in. So I don't know if we intimidate people or people, because listen, this is a safe zone, because Donnie just said, hey, I'm going out on a limb, and that's all fine. We go out on limbs all the time. It's okay to go out on a limb over here. All right. So,
Yeah, we call that a lot of words.
we got a safety net under the limb. You could, you can go out on the limb. It's all right.
Judy called that another word, imaku.
Okay, Maku. That's correct. Up, Jehudi. Nope. You're very warm. Like you're right at the oven, but you're not in the oven.
Yeah, is one thing.
You're not in the oven. So hold on, let me see if I can do it like that. I'm just trying
Probably need to put it a little bit. Oh no, it shows correctly.
Oh, wait a minute. What happened?
Yes, he fixed it.
Oh, he did?
Yes.
What does he have?
Imakut.
Okay, yep. All right. And I just want to get this so I can identify the word he's talking about. So all of this right here is the word he just mentioned. Imachut. All right. So, okay, that's good. What? Let's name one more. Anybody can name one. Any more? Or two more. Have at it.
Well, I do believe I see the Ma'a again in the upper left corner with the platform. I could be wrong, but that's what it looks like. Can you
Where
hear
at
me?
the top?
Yeah, very top, the very top left corner.
Left corner. What did you say? What glyph it was?
Another Ma'a.
The first row.
The very top glyph, you know, the platform sign or the platform glyph, like the slanted little ramp. Just the
Oh,
very top, all the way to the which
it's
is
like
my left.
okay, yeah, okay. It's like the carved because
No,
there's like
no,
a
no, no,
roundish one.
no. See the person that's depicted like
Mm-hmm.
all the way on top of their head.
Oh, with the zigzag
That's the water ripple, but I'm talking about on the very
above it.
top of that. Yeah, that looks like
Oh,
the platform to me.
oh, okay. I see what you mean. Um, but the platform would be more like sharp corners.
Okay, well, that's what I thought.
Yeah. Um, do we have a platform here or anything like no? Oh no, I can see the bottom. Unless you mean like there's a short half of I forget what glyph it is. Could be.
So
Yeah, you've pretty much done everything in here.
Well,
I wouldn't say that.
we leaving the bottom out now. So
Okay, yeah, there we go. So the bottom part. Well, there's one I can pick up on the bottom. Oh, you're still picking up words?
yeah.
Okay, so there's a pet.
Okay.
And khair.
Well, Hotep,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a nice hotel. It has the phonetic complements, all of it right there.
Yeah, Neb.
Yes.
And the line above it, we have Iwinet.
Yes. And it describes a people.
You beat me to it. Tall people. They have to be tall now.
You know, tall people.
White people.
Right.
Does anybody know what that square is? I seen it at the first row.
Hmm?
It's right by the what's that called? I want to say that's a platform, but it's right under that.
What is it? The bottom row or second?
It's between the bread loaf and that hook, the cane.
Between the the mat?
The mat.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the Monoliteral piece.
Can
Oh,
I ask
I
a
don't think they
question?
can see on the chat because it points to whoever is talking.
Can I ask a question?
See.
Yep.
So where the arrow is right now to the absolute right of that, which to me kind of looks like, I would say a sky. Can we talk about what that is? Or
Right
what
here?
am I looking at right there? One more over, just to get, yeah, that guy.
That's what Emicat mentioned. You could repeat that.
Oh yeah, pet for sky or heaven.
Okay.
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 But I think we need to we need to freeze the image so that people in the chat can see, because I think what they see is whoever's talking.
Okay, let me do that. Apologize for that. Let me go ahead and there we
So
are.
that would be a biliteral PT. Is that correct?
Correct.
I think in this case, is it you working as a determinative? Because we see the P and T right above it.
Exactly. Excellent. That's correct.
Okay. Okay.
So it's this right now, this one that you identify is functioning as a determinative, but these two are phonographs. And so they've got the P and the T, pet, and then the
Yes.
determinative.
Do ascension. That's correct.
Okay. Thank you.
And then the third and fourth glyphs from the right, we're reading right to left. It's Netcher, So I was just, at first I was gonna say, oh, we have a instance of honorific transposition, but it looks like that it's just it's correct how it's written. Like that's not an example of honorific transposition, no.
No,
No.
not natural.
Okay. Yep.
Not natural.
On the other one on the top, it is, but not on this one.
Because I think is the vulture. Not the mother vulture, but the other vulture. I'm just freestyling, y'all. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's uppercase A.
Where he's
Oh no, he's talking about the as in A.
Yeah, but it's not in there though. So sorry about
okay.
that.
Yeah.
I was just adding.
All right, I got a really good question. So somebody identify this glyph.
It's hard,
That's crazy.
it's hard to make out to me.
That's not a glyph.
It's like a bird's nest.
Yeah, somebody was living on that stelly up for 1,000 of years. Built a house there. But it would definitely not be a glyph because it would be completely out of place either way.
Okay, so I pointed that out because I want everybody to understand that doing this kind of work, you have to be flexible, and you have to keep in mind that these artifacts are thousands of years old, and they have weathering, they have damage, and all kinds of things. So you're not going to get the perfectly carved glyphs all the time, and sometimes you may see things damaged, like what we were looking at before. Where was that at? Like, this damage here, and it's damage up here. And so with experience and practice, sometimes you get to know words. It's like English. If the reason why you can tell somebody had a typo, the only reason why somebody made an error in spelling is because you know how it's supposed to be spelled. And now this is not the case here, but I'm saying when a glyph is missing or is damaged and you can't make it out, you'll still know what it is based on the glyphs around it, because you'll know the word. You'll be familiar with the word. So like, for example, let's say this first 4 glyphs right here, this Hotep glyph was damaged. By seeing all of these, we would know that is Hotep, because we know how the formula starts, the way it's shaped in terms of its pattern and everything.
Okay.
All right. So those are things that help us out. All right. And that's it. So that's step 3, is to identify a word. I'm sorry, go ahead.
One more question. I want to identify one more glyph. It's on the third row.
Third row. Okay.
I believe that's F34. I think that's a vase.
You said right here.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Is that ib?
Anybody want to answer that?
Yeah, a vase would have a different kind of curve, almost S kind of. I see. So that is head. You can see the ears,
Hati?
the head.
Oh, it's a head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks a little bit different here, but it looks almost like how you would be written in simplified Sesh Netcher. So you have that, and then you have the little triangle at the bottom, and then the ears on the side.
Sure.
All right. So let me ask a question. So that's those. So those are examples of step 3, identifying words, and then you take those words, and if you don't know the meaning, that's where you use the dictionary for, or multiple dictionaries. But I have another question though. So obviously this is an offering formula. It begins with Hotep D Nasu, right here. These first 4 glyphs. Now, what I want to know is, in every offering formula, no matter how long it is or how short it is, it will have the same 4 basic elements. And one is the opening phrase of Hotep D Nasu. Number 2 is the deity or deities that's involved. And then 3, the items that are offered. And then 4, the beneficiary or beneficiaries. Those are the 4 basic elements that structure offering formulas. Okay. And or offerings, I should say. And so my question here is, what is the deity? What deity is being associated here? Does anybody know?
I think Impu.
Okay, that's correct. And how do you know that? Where do you see Impu?
Right. Yeah. Right after the Hotep Dinasut phrase is usually the deity. I see the reed leaf, the water ripples, and then the what's that? The mat, or so INP, and then I think maybe for aesthetics they just didn't put the quilcher. I don't see it.
Okay. All right. Good.
Thinking you're gonna say you used your third eye.
Huh,
Was to
third
read in
eye.
the glyphs.
Third eye.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Okay, so that's the deity. Now, okay, so who's the beneficiary of this offering formula? Who can point that out?
We have to go to the end.
Mm-hmm.
Is her name is it Hatepsi or C?
Okay.
The revered one before the great.
Yes.
Hatepsi, yes.
Hatepsi.
Okay. That is correct. That's excellent. That's correct. And that's so obviously that is who this image that's who this figure is. Okay, Hatepsi. So the next question, well, here's what's a little different. Usually the offering for in the offering formulas, the name is followed by a what?
Let's see, true or voice.
Yes, ma'keru.
Yes.
And which in this case would be matkeru. And we don't see that here. Okay, so just take a mental note that there are some offering formulas that do not include it. And this being one.
Short on space, maybe.
Short on space. Well, no, they have all this room right here.
They got
Yeah.
plenty of space
Could
down
not
there.
finished.
She ran out of money.
Something.
Right.
That's crazy.
Or or some people say, well, maybe she wasn't triumphant. Makiru, maybe she wasn't true of voice. Okay, so yeah, I just wanted to point that out. And all right, so does anybody want to, let me see if I can shrink it. Anybody want to give a translation, like to try to walk through it and translate it? Now there's some things that are damaged, and we see right here, and we never identified this glyph right here.
Oh yeah, that's the what it.
Yeah, I was gonna say Wati.
Yeah.
Wati.
And then I think because she's feminine, so they put that extra T.
Okay. And see, this is damaged. What is this?
That one will be, I forget what the glyph is called, but it is it's the one for like like for ornaments or whatever it is. So it's kekeret. It's keker, but then I think on this one is kekeret with the T on the bread off on top. So you will see that for like with the female, it will come with, it's like the phrase you'll see kekeret nesu will be like a concubine.
Okay. All right. Hope everybody's getting that.
Is that the glyph that looks like a bow? Look, not a bow, but it's like a ring with like a little tie on the side of it, or
Around it, it's like conical, and it's like a round but conical, and then it has like some ornaments around it.
yes,
That's it.
Get it.
Okay. So y'all at level 10. Y'all are too advanced. Too advanced around here. Okay, so does anybody want to give a shot at just giving a translation? I'm going to shrink it down a bit so we can see the whole thing at one time. Almost, yeah, we could do that. Yeah, should be in there a little bit more. All right, there we go. Move these out the way. So does anybody want to give a shot?
Okay, I'll try. So Hotep Dinasu Inpu, an offering the king gives Inpu.
Okay, nice.
And then Peret Keru, tea and ket, a voice offering of bread and beer.
Yep.
And then en Kekeret Desu, what?
Wait now. Wait, hey, we leaving out something right there. What's that? Are you saying that's like a spaceship or something?
No, but I think it was the bread that goes with the Peret Keru. I'm thinking. So that's why I didn't mention it.
Okay.
Sometimes it's at the bottom.
Well, let me give a hint. Usually now, when scribes wanted to shorten the list they would use the word provisions, which is jafau or jaffa, which means provisions, and it looks like football, or a wide. It looks like this glyph right here that I'm pointing at.
You've mentioned that before twice. I remember on the different session. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so yeah, so it will be Pret, Hiruti, and Ket, and then Jafau. So
Right.
N. So voice invocation of bread and beer and provisions to N, and then Keket Neshu Watit. So for the concubine, or the royal concubine or concubine, and soul is not companion, so it would be like a close person or close to the king.
Okay.
And then
But how would you translate that? You would say royal concubine soul.
close royal concubine.
Okay.
And then the third row.
You don't like soul, the soul royal concubine. You don't,
Well, I mean, close is no, soul is fine too. I wouldn't just say that like that. I would probably say close.
I mean,
But no, soul is good.
Is that a stab at polyamory or something? Like, are they saying the soul? Like, hey, I'm just down with one soul, the soul royal concubine.
Or maybe like that, I would probably say close if there were probably many, but in this case, I don't know if it was one, because do you think like this means like a top level? You know how like people talk about main chick and.
Okay, let's all right. Watit, what does that mean?
Well, it would come from wati or wat, which means one or a single.
Yes. So identifying this form, Watit is soul,
Yeah.
unique or soul.
Yeah, I think unique is actually makes more sense.
All right. So the soul royal concubine, or okay.
But okay, just to confirm, does that mean that was the only one, or that was the unique one?
Well, reading this text alone, we would not know. So it would just be speculation.
Okay.
We wouldn't know unless we knew more about Hatshepsut or the person that she was a royal concubine to, and found out if there were others.
Okay. Makes sense. That's logical. Okay, so far we have an offering the king gives in Pu, voice invocation of bread, beer, and provisions to the unique royal concubine. And then we have Hut, Her, Hem, Netcher, Hemet, Netcher, Nebet. So this will be, it says Het Heru, and then a priestess and the possessor. So this will be the priestess of the temple, the Het Heru.
Okay.
And then it will be Nebet, possessor of Iwanet. And that would be possessor of the place Dendera.
Yes. Dendera.
Yes. And then you go to Imakut, venerated.
So wait. This right here. Well, let me get my rectangle back over here. So this right here is what word is this again?
Iwanet.
Okay. And you said this is Dendera. So is this a place?
Yeah, I'm gonna say no. This is a people.
Right, it's a place. So how do you know it's a place?
It's a place because we have
Determinative.
Okay, say it again, Danny.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I was
no,
just,
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was saying say
well,
it again.
well, it looks like in the little square that you got, it's a, no, I misspoke. Hold on, let me chill out.
It
I
sounds like
No,
you're
misspoke.
about to be right.
no, because you probably onto something. Just go ahead and say it.
Well, it looked like it was a determinative at the bottom,
Right here.
but yeah, but then I took it back because,
I don't know why, because you're correct. That is the Newt symbol or Newt glyph, Gardner 049, which is for a place.
yeah, but I thought that was like the wavy mountains, and that don't really look like a wavy mountain.
No, Unet is what we famously know as Dendera, and that is a place, that is a location. So that's the town of Dendera or
Okay.
Unet.
Okay.
The sign you're talking about also is used as a determinative for a place. The Jew.
Yeah, you're describing the double hill or the triple hill. That's what it sounds like you described.
I was the triple
Yeah,
hill.
that's what I'm saying. Right. But that's not here. This is the Newt. So you were correct. Yeah, correct. Okay, so all right, but I'm sorry, MK or whoever wants to continue. Move out the way.
Sorry, Emika, do your thing.
Oh,
Sorry.
now I was just letting see if anybody else wanted to continue.
How's the chat doing? Let's check in on the chat. Anybody giving that see Mika said reed leaf, water ripple. No one who else wants to who is the concubine? Okay, we're about to find out. The first of many. Okay, so go ahead and continue. Somebody else want to continue or Mika?
Yeah, I'll finish it off for.
All right.
So we're at the last line, and we
No,
have.
no, she stopped at Unet.
Oh, okay. So we're at Imahut, the revered one. She was the revered one in the presence of or before the great God, Lord of the sky, Hatepsi.
Okay, excellent. And that is it. That's it. Okay, so that is everything. So that's how it's done. That is how you do it. Now, obviously, so this is what we do. So on freestyle, obviously we don't use any books and we could be wrong. We could, misidentify things or whatever the case is. So we would never end here and just stop and then conclude and then try to go somewhere and debate and argue. This is what it is. No, that's not how you do that. So what we would do, we would check behind ourselves, crack open the books, and then go through it, the more proper way. So again, the freestyle is so you can see how far you are, see what you've retained, what you know, how proficient you are. But obviously you want to double check. All right. So we wouldn't just end and just stop and that'll be done. We want to make sure.
Joe,
Yes.
I had a question. Going back to the end of the third row, Nabet,
Yeah.
Iwanet.
Yeah.
So playing around with that Niut glyph, could you also say the mistress of the inhabitants of Dendera? If you wanted to try to push the people thing.
Oh, no.
Probably more like the Nebet Iwanet would be like the possessor of the city of Iwanet. That would be closer than people.
Yeah. No, but But I mean, what he's saying is that could UNET be talking about the inhabitants? And so this is where we explained this a few times in the past,
Mhm.
where you have the like a place is understood to be the people in terms of a nation. Like our idea of the nation. Like if I say, for example, if I say um the nation of, well, you don't actually hear the nation of America. You don't hear that combination, but that would be a valid statement. But if I say the nation of Kenya, so when I say that, you know that I'm talking about people and not the geography itself. Because a nation is a group, a body politic, an aggregate of men and women who have come together under, government, blah, blah, blah. You can look up the definition of a nation. So it's an aggregate of people. And so sometimes nations will get anthropomorphized into, a person or a group. All right. So go ahead.
May I speak?
Yeah.
I have a question. So, can you go back and point to the Kasut?
Okay. You said Kasut. Where was that?
Well, I thought it was right where you're at, that
Right.
determinative right there.
No, that's Newt, which means city or village or town.
Okay.
Kasut,
Okay.
now Kasut is what you were talking about the whole time, but that's
The
not it.
three,
It's
the three hills.
the triple hills, exactly.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
That's
I just had some confusion. Sorry.
Kasut, yeah.
Sorry about
And
that.
and it comes from the word for hill, and Kasut or Kaset is the singular, and Kasut or Kaswet, depends on who you talk to, is the plural.
With the strokes. Okay. All right. I got you.
And it means foreign, it means hills originally, but that's also
Foreign,
indication.
foreign land.
Yep. So let me ask you this. The word cassette means hill itself, but we also know it to mean foreigner or foreign, and then kasut, foreigners or foreigns, etc. So why do you think a hill is associated with foreign? That's yeah.
Okay. So I would say that because when you're living off of the Nile or whatever, there's terrains and stuff like that. So there's mountains and different terrains. So that's just how they processed it and what they called it.
Okay, yeah, that's very good. One more element that you kind of left out of that. Like why would a person be referred to as a foreigner? Like, okay, the phrase heka kasut, which are foreign dignitaries or foreign rulers.
Okay. Uh, Obviously, well, not obviously, but they were looking at different people or a foreign people. So it had to be foreign to them
Okay.
because it means foreign land. So they had to be looking at foreigners.
Okay. Man, you like right next to the oven. You're not in the oven.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
man,
what we try to
I'm-
like. It's they couldn't see over the hills, so it's like that's why it's foreign to them.
Okay, yeah, both y'all are really there. So let me just clarify because I don't want to drag it out. So the word for hill doubles also as the word for foreign because of the natural borders of Kemet and hills being those borders. So anything on the other side of the hill is foreign to them because the hill is the border. The hill is
Oh,
the border.
It's a
So
bluff.
anything from the other side, whether it's a person or anything that comes from the other side of those hills, that's not us, and that's not part of what we got going over here. That means it's foreign.
okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you both were saying pretty much that, but I just want to make sure that key thing of on the other side of the hill.
Yeah, but I didn't freestyle that though. I got some notes right here, my own personal notes though. So
Right. Now that's good.
yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
I'm
And
not
this,
trying to break up any Majay. I'm not trying to break up any happy homes now. Go. You better happy. What they say? Happy spouse, happy house.
We are definitely weird. It's like people sit with their notes in the middle of the night. Some people be like 5 o'clock in the morning.
5 in the
I mean,
morning.
why I'm looking at them funny.
It's a happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, happy wife, happy life. You're right. And then the other one is happy spouse. I mean, happy house, happy spouse, happy house. Yep. So you get to it. Do it now. Now do it. That's what we used to say. Do it now. Now do it. Do it now. Now do it. All right. So that's pretty much it. I don't want to drag this out. We have 5 minutes. Okay. So we have 5 minutes to build on anything. So I'm gonna take this.
let me add something on that new um discussion and plug you guys' book. You guys did a good book, the Shimsu Haru team, you Sanjetti and brother Asar. And there was work done on this sign right here. So I think we could safely say, like, not only do we know it's a place, but it's most likely a place with water running through it, or right on the water, or water running through it.
Yes, that's true. And so remember in ancient times, they didn't have a sewer system and piping and things like we have today. So people had to live near sources of water or tributaries or irrigated channels and things. That's why they had to dig those channels and regulate them. And when the flood came and then resided again, they had to rebuild or redig those channels and repair them. And so that was a annual thing that
Mhm.
was going on, and it was very important. And so where people, whereas more dense populations are in those areas, and so that Newt symbol also is also used as a Nisbe for Newt, which is a word for local, talking about a person, local, a person who is part of the city.
So what actually is it? I see like a circle and like something going through it.
Yeah, some people have interpreted that to be a replica of like a street crossroads.
Or
But
or or
Mhm.
I'm sorry, would y'all, but I also have the book, so if you want to tell me what page it is, I could also look in the book too, because I need to go through it again. I do have the book, but I'm just not familiar with it. I'm just trying to
Oh, okay,
get more
yeah.
context too.
Let's see. I have to find what page it's on, and get right back to you.
No worries.
I don't have the book right here in front of me. Um, but yeah, it's definitely in there. It's it's definitely in there. But yeah. Anything else? Got 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Yeah, can you just, I'm sorry, I might have cut you off, but, and I didn't do that intentionally. Um, can you tell me what it is again? What exactly is that glyph? Because I can't, like I said, it looks like a circle with the water ripple through it. I
Yeah.
don't have no clarity on it.
Yeah, and to some people, it looks like the X-Men belt buckle. It looked like Marvel stole the X-Men.
Oh, okay.
And so,
Okay.
but nah, it's like I said, to some, and this is like the scholar debate on what it is. On one hand, it's a crossroads of street. On the other hand, it's a crossroads of water channel.
Okay.
All right, so just giving you both of those. So when you read up on them, you'll be able to see
Okay.
the debate between the two people.
Okay.
Now, what's
Can
well, just real quick, what's interesting is that what we tend not to do that we should be mindful of, but we, I understand why we don't do it as much because a lot of these artifacts have lost their coloring. But when we get into the rich colors that have survived on a lot of these artifacts, that will also clue us into what these depictions are of. And so that newt symbol is sometimes you see it painted blue, like they do with water and things. So,
okay.
that may help out in identifying what that actually is.
Okay. Can I speak?
Yep.
Yeah, when I'm looking at my notes, like the little X-Men belt buckle, as you called it, uh, I see Nuet to you,
Yep.
Niu to you, and then the way we break it down, town, people, local. So it's
Right.
we're on one accord. It's just the glyph was hard to see on your screen, and you made that be known why that is and stuff like that.
Right. Exactly. These things are old, so some have wear, tear, weathering, damages when they dug up and moved stuff. So, we have to be flexible. But
Yeah. Okay.
that's pretty good. So that's
What's she holding? Is that the chisel?
oh, let me zoom in. Now usually let's see if we can zoom and get a clear image of that.
What's that?
Now because she is a Hemet Netcher of Het Her or Het Heru, most likely that is the sistrum in her hand.
Yeah.
What's it stand for? What's it mean?
The sistrum itself?
Yeah.
Usually it deals with women who are in some kind of priestly have some kind of priestessly function of either singing or some other role within the rituals that take place in the temple. And so the sistrum usually is involved with some kind of hymns or chanting and singing and things like that.
Okay, do it.
So if there is nothing else, let me shrink this back down, give a final view of it. Take all of these away. But that's our picture. And that's our freestyle. So that concludes our freestyle. Hopefully everybody will start to getting more and more used to the steps, and hopefully it'll spark an interest for you to learn. A lot of the big question I always get in terms of people deciding to learn this writing system and language is, what are the benefits of learning it? And usually when somebody asks me that, they're not really asking me the question for an answer. They're actually trying to make a statement, but they just put a question mark on the end. And basically people who ask that question, they usually feel that there is no benefit, and they want to know, why am I dealing with it? When people ask me. So to kind of, avoid all of that and any other dialogue, I just cut straight to the chase. if you are interested in ancient Egyptian culture, then it is a must that you learn the language, at least at a basic level, beginner's level, at the very least. And the reason why is because the only way that you can have any insight into the culture is by way of the language, because language is the DNA of culture. And so, yeah, you can observe the culture and try to look at ancient Egyptian culture, but if you don't have the basics under your belt to engage the language, which records the psychology of the people, then you're gonna be handicapped. And so it's the equivalent of window shopping. You're always gonna be on the outside looking in and trying to peep things out, as opposed to stepping in the place and being able to deal with it directly.
Indeed.
So that's really the motivator. Because if you're not, I'm speaking to anybody who may watch this video, if you're not interested in ancient Egyptian culture, then learning a language is not really going to be your thing, you know? And so that, there's a direct relationship between the interest in the culture, because you're not going to learn this language and then walk down the street and talk to anybody. You're not going to, learning this language is not going to put food on your table and money in your pocket, the things that people will expect, or would like to have and receive benefits of. No.
Right.
So that's step one, because once you learn the basics and you engage the culture, now the culture is accessible, and now you can survey the culture and see if there's anything worthwhile and usable or applicable today. But without that first initial step of learning the basics of the language to begin, at least at a beginner's level, you might as well count that out. And that's where a lot of people stay. A lot of people stay on the outside. And what's interesting, and probably not probably, but it is not good, is that people on the outside got so much to say about Kemet. A lot of people who argue about ancient Egypt, they're arguing from the outside. They haven't even engaged the culture by way of the language. And it just creates a surrounding or an environment of just noise. And so to avoid the noise, learn the language. And so that's why I encourage people to learn the language. Yep. And I'm gonna tell you my personal experience of engaging a culture through the language, it's way different than what you hear people argue about, who are on the outside, who don't know, and they have so much to say. It's a big difference. And you actually learn about the culture to the point where you can actually see things that are beneficial today, and you can see things that don't apply to today.
Can you give an example?
Okay, I'll give an example. Well, a very, very, very famous example are medical principles. You have medical papyri that exist, and ancient Egyptians were very, very good. They had a whole crew of medical physicians called Sunu, who were under the patroness deity of Sekhmet, and health was taken very serious. Disease, the causes of disease, and things like that. And so there's a lot of papyri that explain things on ailments, diagnoses, prognoses, and all that other kind of stuff. And so some of that is useful to this very day. And a lot of people who are in the medical profession who go a little bit beyond just the textbook teachings, they will tell you that there's a lot of things that are in those papyri that they're like, wow, as far back thousands of years ago, they were diagnosing, identifying, diagnosing, and things like that, prescribing things that were useful in those days. That's one. Another one is we cry a lot about being or needing unity. We need to unify. We need to unify, divide and conquer, divide and conquer. So we got to do the opposite. We got to come together, come together, come together. But nobody realizes that there is a culture that recorded a lot of, a whole lot of things that is a result of a unification, an amalgamation of several different people. And it lasted for over 3,000 years. So that whole unification process, if studied properly, could be applied to today on how to unify people and how to keep them unified. And I'll give you a further example. A unifying tool that was created to aid the unifying glue is something as simple as a calendar. The way that a population of people keeps time and set holidays is a unifying tool. And we know this today because the United States did the same thing. Remember, prior to time zones, there weren't any time zones. We didn't have Eastern Standard Time and stuff. Before those standard time zones, time was all over the place in terms of tracking it. Same thing with money, monetary. You can go from Georgia to Florida and your money is totally different. The values, there was no exchange and equality, equity with that. Then they started to regulate money to make sure the values were standard and fixed, so that people could trade goods and stuff and keep the value and all that good stuff. So that all these are unifying principles that keep people under in sync and unified. So Kemet did the same thing. The deities, these are our taxonomic and ontological and taxonomic labels for all areas of life. And that gets to a whole other conversation. I see somebody try to set me up, boy. I will talk all night, but I'm not. But no. But anyway, I'm just giving a couple of examples of things that are very, very useful. But there's a lot. There's a whole lot that if I mention some, it will call for a whole conversation, a whole conversation. I could talk about something. Psychology is paramount. In Kemet. Just a quick example of that. The word ib, which is usually expressed with the glyph of a heart. People think that the word ib means heart, like the organ, but it actually means the essence of something. The ib, which means the innermost or the essence of something. And that essence or the innermost of the human being was the mind. Okay. And the heart was used to represent it in the writing system, but it's the mind, what we call the mind today. And in Kemet.
The Ka.
So say it again.
Was it the Ka?
No, the mind. Ib.
Oh, okay.
It's the essential part of something, the essence of something, the ib, the innermost core. And so there's a lot of words in the language that are composite words that form idioms. So we have, for example, men-ib. Men is the word for stability, a form of stability, and ib is the word for mind. So you can imagine what a stable mind means. In a positive way, men-ib is confidence. But in a negative way, men-ib is stubbornness. Meaning your mind is fixed, you're stubborn, or your mind could be fixed in terms of you being confident. So that's reflected in the language. We have sit-ib, which is the place of the mind, meaning that the seat is in the mind, and anyone that is given that attribute it's talking about affection because you're affectionate about the things that are always on your mind.
Mm,
It's placed in your mind. Set ib.
beautiful.
Okay, so that's the word for affection. Awit ib. The word awit or awu means to stretch, to expand. And so awit ib is the expansion of the mind. And the idea behind expanding the mind is what we call today joy or happiness. And so that's the word for joy or happiness, awit ib. And so these are psychological principles that if we understood today, it would help us organize things that will prepare people, mentally today. We don't study those type of things. Now we do have modern psychology that deals with those things, which is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
The study of the mind and human behavior. And that's what a lot of indigenous cultures were into. The deities and stuff like that, it's really a platform or medium for psychology.
Principles and character.
Exactly. Ked is the word for character. And you're building character by Reki and Ibi, by knowing what is in your mind. And so when people say know thyself, that famous phrase, know thyself, it's really a concept, a psychological concept of knowing the content of your mind.
Mm.
So in Kemet, it's the phrase Rek-E M Ibi. Rek-E means I know, M, which is within, or that which is in, and then Ib-E, my mind. I know the contents of my mind. Therefore, I know self. So you don't know yourself until you know the content of your mind and you know how the mind works. And so it's all about the mind, not the brain, but the mind. Okay.
Wow.
That's the and we get this all from the text. I mean, the text is full of this. Like matter of fact, the judgment scene in the Book of the Dead, the famous judgment scene that everybody stares at, is a psychoanalytical tool. It's a psychological tool. What's being judged is the person's mind, not their heart, not their literal heart. It's the mind that's being judged, the content of the mind. That's why that's what's happening there. And
'Cause
and and you're go ahead. Say it again.
I'm just letting you know I was here. I thought it was the heart, but I'm listening. I'm a master student right now,
No,
or not a novice student.
no, it's not the heart. You're looking at a heart, the glyph for heart, but that glyph represents a word ib, which means the mind. The heart, listen, the heart will never ever be lighter than a feather. So that's definitely not ever to be taken literally. And here it is right here. As a matter of fact, let me use this one. So hopefully everybody can see that. This heart right here is the glyph that represents the word. So it's acting as a logograph, the word ib, and that is the mind. The mind is being checked against the feather of Ma'at or the feather. And those are the rule. Because think about this. When you judge anything, you can never judge something in and of itself. To judge is to compare. To weigh is to compare. And so you got to compare it against something. And so the rule, ma or ma'at, is the rule. That's the straight rule. And you're judging against that. And so what's happening is you are actually judging yourself, because only you know the content of your mind, no one else. And because of that, you cannot lie to yourself. People try to do it. That's a psychological disorder doing that, but people try it, but you cannot lie to yourself. You know what you've done. And what's going to happen, the way that this text expresses it, is that all of your body parts will bear witness to the content of your mind. Now, that's not literal, but that's expressing the fact that you are judging yourself. You can't lie to yourself. And as a check and balances to make sure, or to to complete the process, is this amalgamated beast here, which represents the concept of guilt. Because think about it. We say these phrases to this very day. We'll say, something is eating at my mind. Something is eating me up. I shouldn't have done that. Man, I'm trying to lose weight, and I ate that whole box of donuts. Man, I feel guilty. That guilt that you feel is something eating at your mind because you know that you should have done better. And that's that concept of guilt, which is this amalgamated beast called Amit. And the word Amit means devourer, from the word Am, which means to eat.
Yeah, the phrase is, yeah, my conscience is eating me alive.
Yeah. And that's guilt. These are all mental things.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I mean. This scene is really a psychoanalytical tool. And there's a part of you that judges, and that part of you that is the ultimate judge is called wasir. The part of you that actually memorize and records and stores is Jehudi, and so on and so forth. All right. So, what I'm saying, so stuff like this is very, very valuable, because this shows the understanding that we may not be conscious of today in our day to day. So because we don't do this day to day like they did, because this is the Ra'u Niyu Peret Imheru, these are the utterances for coming forth by day. This is a daily thing. You declare your innocence. And that's what this is about. It was a
Indeed.
psychoanalytical tool that you can keep yourself in check. And doing this helps Ked build Ked Nefir, which is good character and building good people. As the Freemasons today say, I take a good man and make him better. Yep. So anyway, man, it's 11:22. So I will be quiet. Anybody has anything closing?
Yeah, I mean, I have a question. Are you willing to accept another question?
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
So
We'll see. We'll go ahead.
now, I'm gonna chill. I'm gonna take the hint, and I'm gonna just let you close out. It's
Well,
cool.
go ahead and ask your
I don't-
question, because maybe we could start our next session. We could have sessions.
Well, one of the things I noticed about you is that you always are like level-headed and always showed good character. You know what I'm saying? Was Kemet one of the things that helped you to get to a place like that?
Somebody who's known me like most of my life would have to answer that more objectively, because like me being me, I feel like I've always been this way, and studying Kemet just confirms that this way is the better way. I didn't, I didn't like read or study something and then switch. It's like more of like, okay, this a good fit. Like it's just my size. It fits, because character is everything. And I
Right.
learned that a long time ago though.
Right.
Before studying Kemet, I learned that. I learned characters, everything, because I had elders. I was fortunate to have elders in the neighborhood that sit on the stoop, that were wise, and give us counsel, little things, that go in one ear out the other, but just enough for it to stick. And I remember always being told that, well, two things stick out. It was a whole bunch, but I'm gonna tell you two. One was, one screw up will erase 10 data boys. And so an elder gave me that ratio, 1 to 10. One screw up will erase 10 data boys. And what he means is data boy, like 10 good things.
Yeah. Yeah.
When somebody say data boy. So you can do 10 good things and mess up once to cancel that out. And so what he was saying was that's the ratio. So you got to do way more good things than bad things, blah, blah, blah. So that was one. And another one was, it's not always what you do, but it's also how you look doing what you do. And that is a statement of empathy or awareness. You have to be aware of what you're doing, or how you're perceived in doing what you're doing. Like,
Can you break?
Mm.
Sorry. May
No,
I
go,
speak?
yeah, go ahead.
Can you break that down a little further? Because that sounds a little deep, and that sounds a little good too. But
Oh, which one? The first one or second one?
no, the second one.
Yeah, okay. It's it's an issue of, well, you're right about it being deep. And listen, the person that told me, or the elders that told me this stuff, like I said, I was just fortunate enough to catch these little bits growing up.
Mhm.
And there's a big lesson in that one, because it grounds you to know that we do not live on an island by ourselves, and it keeps the ego in check, because we are affected by things around us, and then we affect those things around us. And so knowing that everything we do has a consequence. And so they say it's not about what you do, it's also about how you look doing what you do. That's an easy way to keep in mind that somebody's always watching you. And if you feel like eyes are always on you, you're going to keep yourself in check. So that's one. And then two, it also allows you to be aware of the effects that whatever it is you're doing has on people and things. So you may know the truth, and something may be 1000% accurate, 100% accurate and true, but you have to make a decision on how to convey it, how and when. And so if you're not aware of the external part of it, then you're not going to care. You're just going to say this, say that. And little kids do that. Little kids, we
Yeah.
say little children have no filter. They will just say anything. So little children haven't developed that checking mechanism. So they just do whatever. And then adults who are under the influence do it as well, because alcohol inhibits that part of our mind and mental faculties, and it just has no filter. So a drunk person will say whatever, a little child will say whatever, but a sober adult that has cultivated their mind and their frontal lobe is fully developed and stuff, they are aware of the animal within, and they keep it in check. They don't allow the dog to walk them, they actually walk the dog. And that's another saying. You don't ever allow the animals to walk you. Don't get on a leash for an animal. You have the animal on a leash, and that animal represents the animal spirit in you, which can be reckless. And so you gotta keep that in check. And so that's representative of, if you want to start getting into the terminology, you have the Kat, the Kaibit, the Ka, the Ib, the Ren, the Sahu, the Sekhem, the Ak, and the Ba. And I probably missed out a couple.
What's the Sahu? I've heard that before. Long time
That's
ago.
that's the body when your mama. I don't like the. That's the Sahu. Right.
Well, yeah, didn't say Sahu, it said Sahu. I think they're
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Ah,
okay.
right. And you have the Ib. I think I left out Ib. But anyway, so those are things, and another good thing about understanding the culture through the language is that the very small things that we take for granted, you learn that, one, you learn that you are taking it for granted, and two, you learn to stop taking things for granted. So in the consciousness of the ancient Egyptians, they didn't look at the human being like we look at ourselves today. They saw the human being as a composite of different agencies working in unison, and they named those things. So you have the Kat, which is the aggregate cellular body that can expire and rot. And they usually wrote that word Kat with a fish because fish are known that when fish die, they smell. You have the Kaibit, which is the shadow, but that shadow is the animating force that allows the body to move. And so that is the animal body, because the word animal comes from animate, which means to move on your own volition. And we have the animal kingdom versus the plant kingdom. The only difference, both kingdoms are living, but one kingdom can move on its own, the other one can't. And that's animal animation, animal. That's the Kaibit. Then the Ka is a sustained configuration of energy. And see, there's a whole conversation just on that alone, but I'm not going to go into none of that right now. Then you have the Ib, which I already said is the essence, the mind. Then you have the Ak and the Sekhem, power. Both of them kind of reflect power, but in different aspects of it. And that's a long conversation. And then the Ba. So you have the Ka is representative of the sustained energy, and that sustained energy perceived outside is what we call personality. And so some people translate the Ka as the personality of a person and so on. That's why. And then the Ba is translated as soul. Go ahead.
No, that's just kind of, yeah. That's what I know to be true, as far as the Ka and the Ba. That's
Right.
all. I was just
Yeah,
getting
but see,
confirmation.
to take it, to start to expound more on it, because in general, people just translate Ka as spirit or Ka as personality. Okay, that's the personality, and Ba is the soul. But if you really dig and you ask people to explain the difference between the soul and spirit, you're gonna go around in circles, because soul and spirit are used interchangeably now today. But to the ancient Egyptians, they were distinct, different. And so that's a whole conversation, so I'm just saying. But
Okay.
but anyway, yeah, but we can I want to start having topical conversations, based topic driven. So, I've been asking people to make suggestions on topics that we can just have a full on conversation about,
Yeah, you've been doing pretty good. I really like that defer and appeal to the authority and stuff like that. That was big to me.
Oh yeah.
That was big. That was real big.
Well, because a lot of people need to know that, man, because there's nothing wrong with deferring to authority. We all do it. But appealing in an argument is a fallacy that gets us nowhere. And that's the thing. Communication is supposed to be about solving. See, listen. I mean, all right, what time is it? Okay, so let me say this. The reason why we talk, period. The reason why we talk is because it is a solution to a problem. The act of talking is actually a solution to a problem, towards a problem. I mean, towards a solution to a problem. And that problem is that what's in my mind is not what's in your mind. And because we're not telepathic, we have to talk. And so talking bridges the mind. So the act of talking or communication is really supposed to cause us to meet. Two or more minds are supposed to meet by way of communication. You know, and so every conversation we get into is supposed to be towards solving that issue right there. And a lot of us don't realize that that's the purpose of talking. That's the purpose of communication, is to have a meeting of the minds. Like, I'm only talking because I want you in my mind. Some people will joke and say, "Get out of my head." When somebody else says something that you're thinking, they say, "Get out of my head."
Right.
But that's exactly what we want. We want people to be in our head. That's the only reason why we talk. So how do we get somebody in our head? In order to do that, we use tools, and communication is one. The whole gambit of tools under communication. That's how we get somebody in our heads. And so the reason I bring that up is because when I explain defer versus appealing to authorities, is to help people understand that it's okay to do one and it's not okay to do the other one. Stay away from it, because doing the other one prevents that synchronization. Anytime you violate a logical fallacy, you are disrupting the solution of the purpose of communicating. I can't tell you something is right just because a person said so. That doesn't make it right. And that's appealing to authority. So
Okay.
that's, I brought that up but it's a deeper conversation that needs to be had, which is on communication period in general, which is what I just said. That's the reason why we speak. We're not telepathic. We have grown to communicate vocally, and now, as of 5,000 years ago, visually, called writing. Writing is visual representation of speech, and speech is the clothing of thoughts.
Yeah, I was gonna say, writing comprehension kind of getting in the way of people communicate.
Yeah.
Knowing how to write is important.
Yeah, how to speak and how to write. Exactly. People, can't articulate their ideas very well. We have to expand our vocabulary so that we're able to articulate. We have more tools available to us.
Me included. I'm working on that.
Yeah. Well, all of us need to continue. It's not, yeah. But anyway, all right. So I'm definitely going to shut it down. So appreciate everybody tuned in. Those who may watch this video all the way to the end, appreciate all of that. Appreciate everybody in the chat. And if you have suggestions for topics outside of Freestyle Friday, because we do this on Freestyle Friday, but just to have discussions. Now I know I'm gonna plan ahead an open discussion to discuss the class, because I'm gonna start another class group, and so I want to have an open discussion. 100 people could come into the Zoom session, That's the max number that can come. But I want to get anybody who's interested in Kemet or the language or whatever to come, and we're gonna have a nice just discussion, nice panel, round table, big old round table, whatever discussion. And so I'm gonna plan that ASAP, and I'm gonna let people know when and all that good stuff. But it's gonna be very soon. So I want to see everybody in the Zoom and everybody, talking. We can introduce ourselves, whatever the case is. Safe place, none of the noise, arguments, none of that stuff. We don't have to agree, but we can respectfully disagree and then explain. And that's another thing about disagreements. A real disagreement is a temporary thing. Otherwise, people just fussing for no other reason. A disagreement is simply a short-term glitch in the problem-solving process. That's it. So, but all right, I'm going to say Shem Hotep, and I hope everybody enjoys the rest of the night. I know there's probably some other lives that's kicked off already or going to kick off. So I'm going to go ahead and end and say peace to everybody.
All right. Shalom Hotep.
Shalom Hotep.
Hotep.
Yeah, what's up?
Hotep.
It sounded like Kadeem said Shalom Hotep. Boy, what you doing? You mixing stuff. It's like I said, Shalom Hotep.
I thought that's what Emmy Cat was saying about me because I said blessings. But Hotep.
All right, so